The armies are massing. Bone chess sets. What were they called? These sets all come under the umbrella of Barleycorn. Really, that's incorrect. This is a Barleycorn set. A bone Barleycorn set. Named for the fanciful shape of the little leaves on the barrel, which people thought looked like barleycorn husks. Now, these sets were made in several pieces. The bases unscrew, the stems come out of the barrel. The barrel itself is made from 3 separate pieces. Because bone is hollow, this is the leg bone, is hollow. If you want to make the pieces for a chess set out of it, you can get the base from cutting this way. The stems you can get from the edges, but the barrels have to be made from the whole leg section, and they are hollow. They're hollow inside, and they're made from 3 pieces, 2 washers inserted with threads in the bottom, and then that was the smaller leg, and this obviously smaller part of the leg. And there's plenty of bone on one of the front boards, that's for sure. These Barleycorn sets, generally speaking, the true barleycorns with the barleycorn leaves on, were very well made, and a good deal of decoration, hand applied decoration, not with an ornamental lathe. Cog bases, the barleycorn pattern, the patterns on the tops there, this cross-hatching pattern, and for a long time I thought that these were made on an ornamental lathe. And then, when I looked more closely and I rolled them out onto clay and counted the patterns and looked at the patterns very closely, it became clear that they'd been made by hand and applied by hand, not by machine, because they would be much more regular. And as you can see on this one where I've counted the patterns, they have different numbers of leaves on the top and bottom part sometimes. So that goes to show that they were carved by hand. So here we have the sort of book box that they were frequently sold in, and the knights' heads were generally quite well carved, considering that these men were working on a price. Bishops, fairly typical shape, I suppose, for the day. And again, with this type of set, the rooks with some cog decoration on, and again this is the leg section with an insert piece there and hollow on the inside, and an insert piece in the bottom, and quite often, as you saw just then, quite often there's still the debris from the cutter inside the chess piece where they were made, but they've never been opened from the day they were made. And they frequently come with flags which were taken out of the rooks when the set was in play and put to one side, because I suspect they would have been somewhat too unwieldy to play with the flags in, so I'm sure that was just for display. I'm sure people displayed these sets. Then we come to a very similar set in bone again, just with a different turning on the barrel. No decoration at all, no cog base, just this little bit of hand applied decoration on the top of the king to indicate what piece it is. And again, it's made in the same several sections, full of turning dust inside. Now, this is, I prefer to call this a plain Old English bone set. There's nothing fancy about the decoration. It would have been used for play in a chess club. Similar construction on the rooks with the barrel rook. and the pawn there in the same way. Then we come to this set, much thinner on the centre section, and this isn't made from the middle part, this isn't made from the leg section, it's made from the wall, and it's just about, as you can see, just about on the limit of what's possible to cut from a decent lump of bone from one of the food animals. And this typically also has the thinner ruck, also made from the solid part on the edge of the bone. Otherwise the knights and the bishops and pawns are very similar. This is probably German, certainly European version of the same thing. The knight is much more simply carved, really nothing, little more than an outline. It's not even straight. That's not because it's broken, it's just because that's the way they carved it and pierced it. Again, the middle section is hollow, otherwise it's made exactly the same way as the English ones. Similar threads, and this was the same with the ruck look. This was a sort of set that was used in Europe, and certainly these were used in Europe and in America. Some people have difficulty telling these sets bone from ivory, and all I can say here is that we will put something on the website about this. Bone has Haversian canals which cause little flecks and the dirt collects in them, and you can see that on the base of this piece here. Ivory, this is a piece of ivory. Ivory has Schwager lines, which are crossed over lines, which are just a very slight pattern in the ivory, and they cross over like this. So it is possible to tell the difference, and of course there are many different chess set styles made in ivory in India, China, and the Indians are quite fond of putting little faces on the bishops. But these are ivory, and as you can see there's the central nerve channel that went down the tusk. Just Schwager lines on these, no Haversian canals.